Okay, thank you. Now let's move
No
on to the
problem.
questions. We already have few questions. So just
Yep.
a quick reminder for all attendees, this is a settlement event, mainly focusing a lot on migration to Australia. Any visa-specific questions, feel free to reach to us. We are more than happy to assist you with that. So in interest of time, I will need to prioritize the settlement-related questions, yeah? So Jason, would you like to unmute yourself? You can unmute yourself to ask your question.
Yes, Miss Audrey. Hi.
Right, Jason.
Hi.
Hi, Miss K. Thank you so much for spending your time and explaining. I just wanted to.
No problem.
Yeah, it's really enriching, right? So you kind of like help us all because we are all in hope to get our visa done.
Still be hopeful.
Yeah. So, one quick question would be, how are Australians open to migrants, right? Because every country has its own sentiments towards migrants. You've seen it in the news. Some of them are quite hostile, some of them are quite open.
Yeah.
So I just want to get your first view on, when you came in, right? So when you came in, when you went in a couple of years ago versus what's happening right now with the economic tensions, are they, hostile towards migrants, or is it the same? Or yeah, just your view on that.
If you ask me my personal opinion, right, I think it's about the same, as in like it doesn't really have. If you ask me, there's also certain people who actually like have a different view about migrants. In general, if you ask me, I think the situation is about the same compared to when I came here like many years back. But also depending on where you're going to settle. For example, certain suburb, I will recommend like certain suburb you try to avoid, and because like because of different social economic and stuff like that in certain suburb, right? So if you ask me in general as an overall, like for example, like people that I work with or the environment that I'm staying, I think there's not much difference compared to like many years back towards like the way that they felt about migrants. Yeah, that's my personal view of it. Yeah.
Audrey.
Okay, yeah. So I think Jason, you're good, yeah?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you so much, Miss K.
Okay, great. Now the second question is from Vignesh. Can we please enable audio for Vignesh, please? Vignesh, you can. No.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, please proceed.
Yeah. Hi,
Yes,
Kay. Yeah, thank you for
Hi.
thank you for sharing all your experience. It has really helped in getting some information. Thanks for that. And you were very patient in explaining a lot of questions, actually. A big.
Hopefully, I can give some insight. That's what I hope for.
Yeah. Thank you. So, Mike, just a quick question from my side. Having spent almost a decade in Australia, let's say you take that experience, and then if you were to time travel to 2016, which state would you choose and why?
I think if let's say go back to 2016, right, I will still choose Adelaide, because the reason why is because my kids at that point of time was quite young, and Adelaide, to be very honest, I think it's a very good state. Even though in terms of like comparable, I think a lot of people would rather choose Melbourne, Sydney, or bigger states like Brisbane or even Perth. But I think in general for Adelaide, right, if you ask me, it's a very good place to raise up your kids, especially when they're young. The reason why I say that is because in terms of traffic, in terms of like you can just reach that place like between like 20 minutes, And at that time I moved with my two kids, right? I work full time and I have to pick them from schools and stuff like that. It does help me in terms of like navigating my life, my work, and also like managing my kids at the same time. It's a very beautiful place, and it's really, really a nice place for younger kids to grow up, depending on how old is your kids as well. But I think Adelaide is a nice place to start off. If you ask me, I would still choose Adelaide at that point of time, if you ask me now.
Okay. I mean, maybe I'll just put it another way. Where would you want to move to after spending almost 10 years? Is it some other state?
So,
or?
sorry, can you repeat your question? Because it's like breaking.
Oh, yeah. I was saying, let's say after spending 10 years, you know all the states pretty well.
Yeah.
So where would you, let's say if you need to choose one state for the rest of the life, which one would you choose?
Melbourne.
And why?
I would choose Melbourne. I went to most of the state before, except Perth. But Queensland, I don't really like the hot weather, because that's why it's quite hot in Queensland. So I didn't really like Queensland. Sydney, if you ask me, I think it's too busy for me. In that context, it's basically maybe like go back to KL. I didn't really like it. So Melbourne has a better combination between maybe Adelaide and Sydney. So I still would choose Melbourne in that context, because it's not like as busy or as hectic as Sydney, but it's not as quiet as Adelaide. So it's a good balance if you ask me. Melbourne will be still my destination of choice.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Kay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Vignesh. Thank you. Okay, now let's move on to the second question. Can we please enable audio for WL Wong?
Hi, Kay.
Hi.
I would just like to find out, do your children get free education at university level in Australia nowadays?
Actually, for primary and high school, yes. But for university, you get let's say if you're a PR, then you get a local PR rate. But if you are a citizen, right, then you get you call it like HECS, which is like the help loan that you don't need to pay now during the university, but you only pay once you come out and work and meet certain threshold. So you still need to pay tuition fee, but in the local PR rate. For example, I think, let's say, for example, engineering course or something, you cost around like maybe 8 to 10K a year, Aussie dollar.
Okay. Thank you so much for the information. I think that's one of the reasons why some of us choose to go to Australia is for the kids' education.
Yeah, education, right? Yeah. I think that's most of the people's, like, especially those with kids, one education is like kind of like the priority when you decide to migrate, because that's what a lot of people actually intend. Because like if you go for primary, if I'm not mistaken, primary tuition fee at that time was like 1 year maybe about like $500-600 a year. High school is about maybe 1,200 like a year. And then for uni, depending on the course that you go through, if I'm not mistaken, it's between like maybe 8,000 to 15,000 a year for university. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for the information.
No problem.
Okay.
No problem.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay. So now we can have Harman. Can we please enable audio for Harman, please?
Hello, can you hear
Hello.
me? Hi, Audrey.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, Hamad.
Hey, how are you?
I have the reason I'm joining you guys.
Education.
He's 12 years old. I have very similar story like you, okay? I have two boys, one at 6 and one at 12. So
all right.
when you guys were talking about the city, we were looking at where is Adelaide, where is Pearl, everything. He was arguing with me. Anyway, thanks. I have a lot of information from you. Really, thanks these two guys, professional from GMN, helping me in the stage of the headache part. I'm going for the third exam. Hopefully.
IL.
No, I'm going for the PTE. Audrey helped me a lot I'm doing the lecturing every night now. I must do it. You mentioned a lot of good information when I don't want to think too much, just do it first. I don't have much planning where to go or what to do later, but of course, these juniors are the motivation.
Priority. Yes, that's right.
I checked box just now. How was it very tough to get them enrolled to the public school when you first?
Not really. When you move in, right? So long you decide where you want to stay, because they are very specific on the zone school. Means like you have to stay in between that the zone of their area, then you can get into the school. It's not difficult to do that. So long you stay within that zone. It's easy to get in. It's not difficult. Shouldn't be your concern at this point of time. So
so for primary, secondary, no concern as long as we decide where to live, and then we try the public school nearby.
Correct.
And the cost is like what you mentioned, like $500.
Yes, correct. Like I don't know how much now, because like few years back it was like $500-600 per primary school in a year. So it's not like very costly. Even though now if they increase, I think could be like maybe $700-800 a year, that kind of thing. So long you decide what school you want to go, then you start to look for houses within that school area, and then so long you are between that zone, that's where they will accept you into the school.
So you did the other way around. You don't find out where you want to live first. You find out where the school is.
Yes, another way around. Because
where to live.
Correct. Because you decide on the school first, because that's what I did. I list out the school that I wanted to go. Depending on the culture mix that you have. Let's say you want more Chinese, or you want more Asian, or you want more Australian. So then you decide on that one, because I also look at like the second language. They have second language Chinese, so I want my kids to have the second language Chinese. So this is the list of school that you decided you want to go. Then you start to look for houses around those schools, and then once you get the houses, then that's where you can enroll to the school. You don't do another way around. You decide where the school that you want to go first, then only you go and decide to find the houses.
Very good information. That's the first thing I need to know, even though I'm still in the very beginning stage. It's good for me to think ahead when I'm free. Maybe I go over to visit some places. Like I went to Melbourne and Perth this year. So like you mentioned Adelaide, it was also in my list. So
as what I shared before, like at the end of the day, right, if you really want to move to Australia, actually which state that you go at the first, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, you want to land in Australia. That's your important decision. Right. So after that, once you land there, you can always move anywhere between Australia. So it's to get your foot into Australia. That's the most important. Good luck in your English exam then.
Thank you.
Thank you, Haman. Thank you. Okay, next it would be Chris. Chris, please enable audio for Chris. Can you try unmute yourself now? Okay. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, Chris.
Okay, thank you for
Chris, you might need to speak louder, please. Chris, a little bit louder, please. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks for the information shared, Kim. So just want to ask, like, how is it different from most migrants and Malaysians, they prefer to go to Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. So I think this question is already answered, but like, how is Adelaide different from the rest? Like, be it social.
You mean how different Adelaide compared to Sydney or Melbourne, is that?
Yes, correct.
I think I would kind of like put Adelaide as a city that is, because the population is much smaller compared to, let's say, Melbourne and Sydney. They are bigger city and everything. So Adelaide, I would assume, is something like, let's say we put KL as Sydney, and then we put Penang as Melbourne. Maybe Adelaide, I would put as maybe something like Ipoh, but slightly something like Ipoh. I don't know whether it's the right definition, but that's how I would put it that way.
Okay, that is exactly how I describe Adelaide as well to most of the clients. And when I went, because my honest experience when I first landed, my first trip to Adelaide was, wow, this is like Ipoh. So so I had, I would describe the same. Yeah.
All right. So hopefully I give you an insight on like, this is how you describe the state. Let's say Sydney is KL, Melbourne is Penang, Adelaide is like Ipoh. It's not like totally there's nothing to do there. There's a lot of things that's why I say embrace the culture locally. Like, for example, like they go picnic on the weekend, that's what you embrace the culture. So it's more on like how you adapt to the culture of the environment that you're staying. So Adelaide is a very nice place to stay, to be very honest.
Thanks. I mean, the reason I asked is because like the last few weeks I actually went for like Australian education fair. And of course they would, and there was of course University of Melbourne, University of Sydney, University of Adelaide, and everyone was just going to the University of Sydney and Melbourne. and hardly anyone was going to UC or Adelaide. So yeah, I was like, oh, okay. So okay, but like, so it feels like Adelaide is kind of like underrated in that sense. Like, but
Adelaide,
it's
if you
actually
ask
quite
me,
a good
right?
place,
Yeah, actually, it's a quite a good place. Maybe many years back, Adelaide is not a very popular place, as in like in the eyes of a lot of like country compared to like in general Malaysian. If you ask me at that point in time, I don't really know where is Adelaide to be very honest. But when I start to start my migration journey, I try to understand how Adelaide, like how is this states, and then what do they offer, what do they have, and stuff like that. Actually, in fact, this place is a very, very nice and peaceful place. And then can you imagine, like during COVID, I think Adelaide is the state that have the best control compared to like bigger city like Melbourne and Sydney. I'm sure you all heard about the lockdown in Melbourne that is like crazy, but Adelaide was really, really good in that context. So those are the things that, and then it's getting more and more people know about Adelaide as well. Yeah, I still have a lot of friends in Adelaide. You know, they moved to Adelaide and they didn't want to move out because they like the place there, and then it's like, you know, easy to manage and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yes, it is lovely. Yes.
Yeah, it's a lovely
yeah,
place.
I think that's it from my side.
Okay,
Yeah,
Chris?
thank you for your input.
No
so much.
problem.
Appreciate
No
it.
problem.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to the next person, Deldry Wong. Please enable audio for Deldry.
Hi, I'm Deldry. So
Hi.
Hi, Deidre.
I just got my visa. I got my visa, and I'm planning to migrate over by the end of this month.
End of this month.
Yeah,
Oh, that's nice.
I got my job, so I'm starting on the 4th of November.
Wow.
All right. In where? In Melbourne?
Portland,
Which state is that?
Victoria. So it's 4 hours drive from Melbourne.
Oh, regional.
There is
Regional Victoria.
Yes.
Yeah,
so I just want to know if you have any idea like how I can get use a second-hand car, like a trusted source. Because currently what I'm doing is just like going online and search, and there's like a lot of options.
Yeah.
But then I saw that there's also like a lot of cautions, like after you physically check the car, you need to send third-party inspection.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking if like I can just get a reliable source and skip the third-party inspection part.
Can't you just come? Is there any option for you like come over here and then just go and search in those like second-hand car dealers?
That's my second option as well, because like now I'm trying to get an idea, like do a pre-screen stuff.
Yeah, because usually people will go to carsales.com, you know, to check on like those car or the range that you're looking at and stuff like that. But I would recommend maybe you just come here and go to those second-hand car dealers to have a look physically on those cars. But of course you can explore in car sales and see what's the range and what kind of car that you can actually get. And then when you touch down here, then you just go to those car dealer. And because when I first landed in Adelaide, I also go to the car. It was recommended by one of the friends or you go to this car dealers to check out, you know, the car. If you need some contact, I can always ask like friends and colleagues and see whether they have any contact, you know, like that I can actually share with you if need to, you know. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds good. But I think I will definitely go there. So okay.
All right. Good luck for your journey.
Thank you. Sorry, I got a second question.
Yeah.
I know that Telstra is kind of like one of the recommended mobile carrier.
Yeah.
Maybe like are there like cheaper options or something, like for example?
Yeah, we do have like cheaper option because like Telstra is actually, if you ask me, I felt that they are one of the most expensive one. So maybe you can choose like you can compare between like Optus or even Vodafone to compare between these two and see what kind of deal that you can actually get. Because Tesla, I don't recommend you to go that one. They will be something similar like Malaysia, maybe Malaysia like telecom kind of like the main provider, but they are considered one of the most expensive if you ask me. But because you are staying in regional, right, that's what you have to really check. Because regional, I don't know how much coverage, like in terms of Optus, for example, I don't know the coverage is as good as Tesla in that kind of regional area. But because we are in metropolitan area, so my kids are using Vodafone, or sometimes when we have better offer in Optus, we just switch to Optus. But we don't really go for Telstra compared to like, because my company, I use company phone, so they subscribe to Telstra. So that one you need to check, because I don't know regional coverage in terms of Vodafone and Optus, but those are the cheaper option if you ask me.
Okay, sure. Okay, it's okay.
Alright.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
No
you.
problem. No
So we
problem.
have our last question for today, by Nor Aina. Meanwhile, just a quick note, Imran and Harishankar, the questions that you've asked, we've taken it down. We will be reverting to you because these are more visa-related technical questions, which Desmond and I would answer. So for K today, the final question for the day, and please everyone, stay back. Before we end, we would just like to take a picture, okay? A picture of all of. So I hope that time, don't be shy. Please on your video, okay? All right. Last question. Please enable audio for Noraina. Is that done? So where is Noraina? Let me see.
Hello.
Okay.
Hi.
That's your question.
Hi, Miss K. Sorry, I'm not sure whether you already shared about this, but I just want to ask you whether which one should come first, applying for the job first or getting the visa first? Because we both, me, I and my husband plan to migrate in any south region like Australia or New Zealand. I think you can advise us about this. Thank you.
Sorry, what's your question again? Can you repeat your question again?
Aina? Okay, basically her question was which one should come first, whether she should get a job first or she should get the visa first. Very, very good question, actually.
No, you should get a visa first.
Mm.
Because the reason why, if you don't get a visa first and you apply a job, right, usually they will ask for, like, do you have a visa? Do you have a visa to work in, let's say, Australia? But if you don't have a visa to work in Australia, they won't consider your application as well. So you should apply a visa regardless of the temporary visa or whatever visa. Then only you can apply for a job.
So just to add on to what Kay had said,
Okay.
sorry. So just to add on to what Kay had mentioned, right? So in Australia, you need to have a work right visa. So either it is a PR, like through the general skill migration, or you are getting a temporary visa, say a company offering you a job, right, and sponsoring you. In any case, a visa would come first, right?
Yeah.
Then back to the migration law, the priority is giving to those PR and citizen. So if you do not have any work right visa, you are not a PR, non-PR or citizen, applying for a job and getting a positive outcome is unlikely. Yeah, the employer would not consider the candidates who doesn't have, a PR or a visa. Yes. Right. So we hope, no, Aini. So we hope this answer your question.
Okay.
Right? Yes, Audrey?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Right. Thanks. Okay. So thanks everyone. Okay. Maybe before we get the final words from Kay and Desmond, let's first take a group picture. May I invite you to switch on your video if it's fine with all of you? That'll be very nice. It'll be nice to see you all again. I mean, there are so many familiar names here, Cindy, Reed, and all our clients. It'll be nice to see you all again. Please open your video. So Asmita, whenever you're ready, please proceed to coordinate the photo shoot.
All right, I'm waiting for them to
All right,
open their video.
Okay.
If
If
yeah,
it's comfortable,
so
it's
you may
okay.
proceed. Yes.
Okay.
Asmita.
All right. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Let's take another one. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you. Thank you for being such a great sport, everyone. So final words from Kay and then Desmond, and then we can call it a night.
Okay, final word from me. Okay, hopefully tonight's sharing will give you guys a lot more insight about how Australia is, and also like the journey that you guys like looking forward. But I think my greatest advice is like, if you really want to migrate and you have a thought about it, just explore, just do it. And then whoever who got the visa, if you plan to move, I think do whatever you need to do. And if let's say you need to move, then just move. If there's always no right time or wrong times. As I mentioned earlier, the mindset is very important, and just try to embrace the changes or adapt to the local culture. You'll be able to make it. Trust me. If let's say you already know what's your intention, especially those with kids, and just do it. That's what my only advice. But hopefully this session give you a little bit more details or a little bit more insight about Australia and how to navigate when you really move here. Yeah.
Thanks, Kay. My last words again, a big thank you to you, Kay, and
No
a
problem.
lot more success and great success ahead, in the future. Yeah. And for the rest, the fulfillment that Kay has experienced so far, I think, you can equally achieve that if you stay focused, with your objective, right? So along the way, of course, you might doubt whether to embark or not, onto this journey, right? And you might also question about the ability to success in Australia. I think this is actually very common. Yeah. And but here, what I wanted to say is I just want to assure you that, the efforts to secure a permanent residency, in Australia or anywhere, outside your comfort zone, right, is definitely far more benefits than the potential drawbacks, right? Because I experienced this journey myself. Well, you never know where the future is leading you to, right? I never thought that I would be now spending more time, in the last few years back in Asia. But I also do see myself, going to be spending more times in Australia in the future when I slow down, when I have when I'm able to spend more times in Australia. I always look forward to be, to have that work-life balance and the quality times in the evening and sitting down in front of the TV and being able to, to connect with the nature, right? So that is something that gives you a great experience, right? So that is my words. So good night, everyone. And
Good
thanks
night.
again. I wish everyone, a big success in the future, in whatever the decision that you have made, right? And hope to see all of you again. Right.
Thank you,
Good night.
guys. Good
Thank
night.
you.